Everybody, what's up? So I wanted to talk about a book. I found about this from a channel called The Arkham Reporter, and he's more Lovecraft focused, but he did talk about this book in one of his videos. And I did get an e-reader version of more of the author's stuff, and it's called Life of a Stupid Man. And the story that I really like the most is called In Bamboo Grove, and that was actually the basis for a movie called Rashomon. Um, what was the name? And it's about basically this swordsman, samurai, whatever you want to call him, is found dead by a woodcutter. And the story takes place in the royal court. They interview the woodcutter, a traveling priest, a policeman who basically found this famous thief who claims to have made the murder, killed this guy. They talk to the dead guy's wife, and through a spirit medium, they talk to the dead swordsman. I'm not going to try to pronounce the names. I apologize. And here's the thing. Um, with the movie as an element that I didn't see coming when it comes to the testimony, both the movie and the story leave everything open. Like, I'm not kidding. You don't know who committed the crime, basically, who murdered the swordsman. And the interesting thing about the movie, sorry, itchy nose, is that with the cinematography, oh my God, it is so beautiful. It matches the story. This is actually one of those books that I love both the story and the movie, and I don't say that often. It is this beautiful, beautiful story. Um, Unfortunately, the author died at a young age. He committed suicide, and this is by far one of like I said, this is the first book. He wrote so many short stories in that. It's unbelievable. It really is. Uh, and I think it is worth reading. I think that a lot of what he wrote. There's two more stories. They're kind of more personal in his regard. It's called Death Register, which talks about his mother who had a mental illness and her death. Sorry about that Death Register. It is very touching. He also have The Life of a Stupid Man, which talks about his life before his death. Um, Sorry if I ruined the second story, but it does start off that way. They start talking about it. Um, but the reason why, kind of like Rashomon, however you pronounce it, I'm gonna say this: I have hearing losses sometimes, especially with the Japanese movie. I may not hear everything, so I apologize. Um, is kind of part of it is taken almost like from another story, uh, which is in the book that I found, the e-reader version, and it's not the best. It's about this bandit, not bandit, but he's basically like this dishonored clerk who is in this ruined temple because it takes place after a war and the events that happen. The same thing happens with the movie, except it is in this abandoned temple. The story is definitely interesting, and the changes they made, I will say, were worth it. So I can't recommend both. One of the Definitely one of the weird things is I've read the story a few times and I watched the movie once. I bought it. Um, if you have I don't know. I know, like I rented through Netflix. You have to track it. It's kind of weird to track down on eBay. I don't know if it's on Amazon or any other service. There was a second movie that I did get called The Ghost at the Gate, I think it was, where it's kind of like a retelling of the movie and the story. So obviously, I just want to talk about the first one in the book because it's more what I'm used to. I will say it may be frustrating because, especially since everything's up to interpretation, and I admit it is a spoiler that you don't know who the murderer is, and there's a description of it in some aspects. It's worth it. I mean, really trying to figure out who did what, especially whether it be in the book or the movie, is incredible. And the way the movie adds another element to it, you kind of question it even more. So, yeah, I love the thief that they interview. They actually bring in a police officer who captured the thief. In the movie, the thief, oh my god, the guy who played him, this is why it's definitely worth it. The thief, the guy who played the thief, and the way they, wrote his character and the changes they made, it's a lot better than what you see in the book. So this is one of those things where I definitely recommend both. If you've read the story but you've not seen the movie, see the original. Um, Kira Akasawa, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. He did Hidden Fortress, which Star Wars is based off of, and I can't remember. He did a lot of other works. It was probably done about 30 or 40 years ish after the story was written. Um, just and the guy writes such a beautiful stories. The one that who wrote these. Um, I only have the collection, but I read them all. Even though I had this, I still read In a Bamboo Grove because I think it's out of all the stories that I read, it's probably his best work. Next to The Life of a Stupid Man, that one actually kind of made me cry a little bit because the way it ends and how he fleshes out more of his life, especially with Death Register, you kind of really get that feel and is very sad. So that's it, everybody. Talk to y'all later. Take care. Bye.